the GPK boys. I'm Nick Atef.
What the fuck? I'm Ryan Kazera. Anyway, today we are celebrating the 1-year anniversary of Sapphire, the set that turned the GPK world upside down. Some say for the better, some say for the worse. Regardless, no one can deny the beauty of these cards. Joining us today on this episode, for the second time, is special guest Benjamin Siegler, the architect of Sapphire Tracking Systems. Benjamin, glad to have you on today. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Ryan. Pleasure to be here.
So, Ben, tell me, first and foremost, what's new with Sapphire? What's going on as of late?
Yeah, a lot has happened. First, the atom bomb pod was pulled and graded at PSA. Next, we saw some pink cards that were given back from Topps as redemption for missing hits. We'd never seen them before. We saw some cases, actual case boxes of Sapphire, which we saw 4. That's all we've seen ever. We also saw a very interesting trend with padparadschas. Actually, in Scott Calvert's break, we saw 3 somewhat sequential pads very soon after each other.
That's crazy. How many boxes did those come out of his break, the 3 pads?
I would say no more than 50 boxes.
That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. Let's go back to the top of that. Let's start off with the pinks. They suddenly appeared pretty much out of nowhere in August. They were totally unexpected, at least from my standpoint. Why would Topps release a new parallel 9 months into the series?
People have been making these missing hit claims since March and not getting anything back. So they've been really accumulating. So I think they've had a plan and they wanted to just deliver them all at once and be done with it. So I think that their goal was to give something back because they messed up, and they chose pink probably because they had some other baseball series, is my assumption, that had a I think rose gold parallel for some sort of chrome series. So they probably just had that printed up and waited till what they thought were the end of the claims, and they sent them out August 30th. As soon as they came in, some very smart people actually FedExed claims immediately after that, knowing that, hey, maybe I still got a chance to get some of these pinks. And they got pinks as well. And then other people that sent their claims actually had to wait all the way to October 8th, where I call the third wave. So those are the 3 waves of pinks were sent out. And so it's very important to know that I had to track these as they came in from the original recipient because they're not numbered. The back just says refractors. In fact, the ones that are checklist don't even say that, but they're not numbered. So the only way to know what number it is to see who got it and when, and to really have some honor code behind that. If I sell it on eBay, I didn't really know if it was resold, if it was on DOND. So there had to be a lot of communications behind, did you get it direct? Or if you didn't, who did? To track all of these. We did not exceed 3 per character for those first 2 waves. And as much as we, got more in and more in, it got really exciting because we almost got all of the 300 tracked. We were way up there until the next wave came out, and we quickly got to a multiple of 5 per card. And so 500 is the max. Now, let me back up a second because you're probably wondering why 500 would be 5 max of a character. There's not 100 cards in the series. There's 166. Well, they decided that 50B, I think is Nutty Nicole, was the last character of the series, starting from Nasty Nick, that they would do those 100 characters, the 50 pairs, potentially because there's 100 cards on the sheet. Who knows? Maybe 50 cards on a sheet, but there's probably a reason like that, and they just decided to do something to that manner. So.
Okay, gotcha. So it's almost kind of the same amount as the reds that are out there, essentially.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, what they're selling for right now, what you've seen them go for, do you feel like they're undervalued overall?
Oh yeah, way undervalued. I think people are afraid they're going to print more, but we've seen the trends and it doesn't look like that. I mean, we did see at one point they had 300 max and they did make some more, but we're at the deadline right now. They're not going to make pinks in 2022.
Ben, let me switch gears a little bit because the whole case thing is really kind of fascinating to me. So all of a sudden, obviously, off the bat, we got individual boxes. There was never cases involved at all. So as far as these cases go, when did they start showing up? And is there any secrets that you found from the breaks involving these cases?
Yeah, so this is interesting. Like people that buy a lot of boxes have never seen cases. And even the resellers, like Big Al at Big League, Alan, he had never seen cases. And pretty much everyone I talked to in the know and reputable people had never seen these case boxes and just assumed they did not exist. And then I think it's just a month ago, one guy posted one on eBay, and Jeremy bought it. Jeremy Jack. It was a case of boxes, of Sapphire boxes. Pretty amazing. There's 10 boxes, 10 Sapphire boxes, and it's a very small case. But it was legit. The numbers all matched up, and it was a real case. So that actual reseller turned out had 4. That guy had 4 case boxes. He bought right around the Montgomery sale time. Jeffrey Miller, he actually opened one live, which was so exciting because I couldn't only imagine the premium on these case boxes if there's 4, right? Unsealed, maybe someone gets it BBCE wrapped. I mean, there's just maybe 4 known in the world. But he opened them because who knows? Maybe there's missing teals in there. Maybe there's something exciting. And we absolutely found nothing. There was nothing to go by whatsoever. There were some very close parallel numbers of cards, but it's just not enough to really show anything. Nothing exciting whatsoever inside a case box. Yeah.
Let's switch gears a little bit here. Talk about the sequential pads that were pulled and why that was such an anomaly.
So it's actually interesting because so I'm going to talk about Scott Calvert. He had pretty much no pads pulled at all. And he had gotten to, I think, over 100, maybe 125 or 150 boxes. So way past due for pads. And all of a sudden, the Bent Ben pad came out. And I know that because actually I was following that. And Leonidas won that. And the very next week, I think it was, another 10-box break that Scott Calvert did. And it was the Odd Todd pad, which is 71/8. You know, they're sequential. And Leonidas got that one as well. And then another break, and it was Bad Breath Seth, one of those two, whatever 70A is. I don't know off the top of my head. So those are like 3 in a block of 4 right there. So I contacted him immediately. I had to know. I said, are these from the same batch of boxes? Is it possible? I mean, we've never had a 500-box break where we have enough pads that we could say, oh, wow, these are really close. We do see with reds, they're kind of close, but these were sequential pretty much. So he did say, yeah, this came from the same batch, from the same person, and he has some left. So it'll be exciting to see if he pulls 70B. And I actually started talking to the other trackers, and I talk to on a routine basis, pretty much daily, if 70B is going to be a hot item, because it's the first time ever you've been able to potentially predict a pad coming out by the character. I don't think that's ever happened before. And Mike Dice actually had it for the next break, but Scott Calvert had multiple breaks that you couldn't necessarily have ROFRO in. One was random. He even sold a box, so you don't know which one's going to have it, if it's even in there. But it's pretty exciting. It shows that there is something going on there.
Yeah, that's crazy. Again, everything seems to have been random up to that point. So to see that kind of all in a row right there it's kind of cool, but at the same time, it probably throws everything off because everybody has expectations that everything's random, and now all of a sudden all eyes are on that as far as that goes, and on whether that pops out of there in the future or not. Let's talk about the Atom Pad a little bit, because this was, as you know, as everybody in the community knows, the apple of everybody's eye. I mean, it was the shoe that was waiting to drop.
Holy fucking shit.
Once that dropped, you know, what is the market? What does the landscape look like? How much does that dry up sales? Are people not lining up overall for breaks left and right?
Holy shit.
So it's fascinating. I actually I do a lookup for PSA to find any new parallels to add to the system pretty routinely. And on July 30th or 29th, I found it. It was like, how does no one know this is even here? It must have just been graded that day. And I got lucky. So I immediately posted it, and it was 2 days before the largest 100-box break ever, Edgerly's break.
This is like oh.
And imagine someone just paid a fortune for the rights to maybe get the pad, and now they don't have that anymore. So it definitely changed a lot of the landscape, I would say, because it used to be that the 8A spot subsidized a lot because it was such a big, powerful chance, the $1 million card or whatever it's worth, 100,000. It's just the chance of the big one. So once that was pulled, it did dwindle the value of that spot, and people were trying to figure out how the heck am I going to close breaks. And I think April or August or right after it was pulled, people were trying to figure things out. You know, we're not getting $80 per box for an atom bomb, so like $800 for a 10-box break, which would pay for 15% of a break almost.
Yeah.
They're not getting that anymore. So where's that money going to come from? And you know, people tried a lot of things, but yeah, it definitely changed a lot. It didn't change the value of boxes. In fact, they went up after that. Immediately after that, I think it went up from above 600. So I don't think in our groups, most of the people are chasing characters, but there are people that would absolutely love to have that card. So it didn't change it that much for most people, and the values stayed.
Where would you, if you had to pinpoint off the top of your head, if you had to put a dollar price, or if you had to put a price on that card right now, let's say the guy who pulled it was going to go out to market and sell that card, what would you think off the top of your head? What would that card fetch?
So let me go back to Marketplace and the Almanac, because Jeremiah did an amazing job. I mean, I had to ask him how he did this, but he did it based on multiples. So values of cards, he made multiples of a base card value. So like if you had a teal, it was X the base, and it worked really well. So I adopted his system. But when it comes to these cards that get over even just $5,000 or $10,000, it's a very small amount of people that can afford to buy it. So you're and then the GPK community is pretty small itself. So how many people would spend over $30,000? Because $30,000 is what Blowout would pay for it at that point. Who would spend over $30,000 for this card? It's a small group of people. I mean, you're not going to easily be able to flip it because it's a small group either. Right. You're going to have that sunk cost. I think the value should be $150,000 for this card. It should be. It is the best of the best series of the original series. This should be right there in line with the Superfractor. It was on an auction, PWCC, for $300,000, and then I think it was lowered to $200,000. Someone said it's at $150,000 now, but these very high value cards just don't sell. There's right. A few people that are going to buy it. So my guess is it'll probably sell for anywhere between $50,000 and $60,000 if the person wants that. But that gap causes a huge problem in our hobby. When people know the value is higher, but you don't have someone that can pay that value, you're stuck with it.
That's a heck of a decrease on what he's looking for. I mean, even if he was able to get 100 or 110, you know, I think that's quite a different story. But you're talking about taking a third of essentially what he might be asking, or what realistically he might be wanting for it. So that's a heck of a huge difference in what he might get overall. I'm going to be really, really excited to watch and see where that goes, if that does sell, and what that looks like overall, because I think that's really telling of Sapphire as a whole. You know, like, here is this card that was everything to everybody for so long. Let's see how valuable it actually really is.
Right.
Let's get into, last time we talked to you, Ben, let's get into the missing teals. So last time we talked to you, there was 22 missing teals.
Right.
Give me the update on that. Have we found any, and have you seen any other anomalies at all? Okay. Short answer. End of interview. Thanks, Ben. We'll see you later.
There will be 22 missing teals forever. My guess was this was a reduction in their printing. So, like, if you imagine, they print the stats in the box or whatever, and I think they're pretty good about it. If they make less boxes to distribution, they actually destroy the parallels as well. But I could be wrong. I mean, the good example is Rob White has a Chrome 2 black charred chattered return, the only one ever seen, 99 of 99. And my guess is they destroyed the others, because everyone knows Chrome 2 is cut back, and they had to destroy something. Just my guess on that. I mean, I really, really don't know, but I don't think we're going to see them at all at this point. It's really late in the game. And we're also missing an orange, and we're missing a gold. And I think those we can say are missing because we've seen so many other golds and oranges. In fact, there's one character we've seen all 10 of their purples in breaks, which is pretty cool. That was Fat Matt. And we're still missing 10 red cards. Now, it's possible we're missing red cards permanently. I don't think all of those are permanent. I mean, we just had a Corroded Carl, another Calvert card that came up the other day. The red one, we hadn't seen that before. We had 11 at that point. So we call these rainbow killers, because these are cards people are trying to build their rainbow, and it just totally kills it because they don't exist or they're missing.
So, Ben, I know that you guys, your tracking team, have just tracked over 100,000 cards. You guys kind of just hit that milestone. That is absolutely incredible. So I just wanted to give you some kudos for that as well.
Thank you. Yeah, it got pretty addictive. I remember when I first started it alone, it was going to end, I thought, really early. And then Mike Graben, one of the first big trackers, because he tracked the whole archives. He went back in time and tracked old videos, and he saved it. He was able to free me up from tracking breaks so that I could actually do more development coding, making the code better. And then we've got 3 other fantastic trackers. We've got Skip Rudolph, Michael Dice, and Jeremy Jack. Those guys have done a fantastic job. And it's a great community. I mean, these people will track at their own time, their own cost. They want to help. And we've talked about dumping base for a very long time. And we just recently did it because we had to recode the entire system. And actually, as funny as it is, we had one issue, is that when we remove all the base cards, you, Ryan, have the only break we've ever had that had no hits. So you actually broke all my code, and to this date, it doesn't work. So your 0 hit 1 box break on January 15th doesn't show up in the new system. So we lost a little bit of data there, but you know.
I am dead. I am absolutely cracking up over that, which is, again, obviously one of the boxes of no hits that I sent back to Tops and said, can you just give me something? Like, I got 2 teal shrunken Eds out of 3 boxes. You gave me no hit boxes, like, hook me up or something, you know? So that's too funny. Ben, obviously, anybody who's checked out your database and looked at everything, we just really appreciate you doing this. I mean, again, Sapphire has been so exciting, and we've seen so many different turns and twists to everything, from paying, $67 a box to $550 a box, to having breaks where you ended up with nothing, to having breaks where you ended up with a pad or something great out of there. Again, just from the bottom of all of our hearts, want to say thank you to that very much for everything that you did with that. Do you have any breaker statistics to share with us that might be kind of crazy? Things like who's had the best break? Has there been any crazy breaks where, maybe there was 17 hits, or obviously not, but something like that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, and I can just off the top of my head, SPK had the best box ever because he pulled the Nasty Nick pad.
Holy shit. I'm sorry for the language. Nasty Nick. Holy cow.
Which is the second most valuable card, right behind the Atom Bomb pad. Atom Bomb, we didn't see pulled. We don't know who broke that exactly, so that doesn't count. So that actually will be there forever. He will always have the most expensive box. Now, he opens 28 boxes in the break. I mean, that kind of averages out. And so the best break of all time was Brian Siegel, because he opened a box on camera and pulled out an orange Atom Bomb, which is worth, I don't know, $2,500, $3,000. I don't know how much it's worth. But so that became the most valuable break, the most valuable box. You have the least valuable break. And to be honest, a lot of people open no-hit boxes. So that's not a big deal. It's just never been the only thing in a break. So whoever's the last person who hit a no-hit box will show up as the worst box, because they're all the same value, 0. Without the base.
It kind of sums up my life at this point, honestly, Ben. So no, I'm kidding. So let's talk a little bit more right now about current prices. Base sets really took a hit for a while. They were down to maybe $700 for a base set.
I don't know. I think Chris F is selling them for $650. I mean, I think they're even lower. And it's people are just trying to get money. I think I don't know what's going on. I'm sorry. Finish your question. I cut you off there.
No. That's okay. And obviously, we've got Chrome 4, other things coming out that people might be trying to get money for.
Pre-orders,
Yeah, exactly. It's time to pay those off now. So you kind of answered my question on the base sets and what those are going for, which, again, I'm thinking about my base set. I would never sell it for $650 right now, know. But I think people who did a lot of breaks or who broke a lot of their own stuff have several sets, So for them to go, okay, let me get rid of a set or two, not the end of the world. But talk about pricing on some of the other cards, whether we're talking about orange, golds, greens, teals.
I think about a month and a half ago, I noticed oranges started selling for $150. And, normally there would be 200. And these are just average card prices, Gold could be 250 to 300, orange was $2 to $250. I saw them selling for $150, and the people selling these parallel cards super cheap are buying something else. They're trying to liquidate their money here to buy something else. So it's not indicative of them going down in value, rather than they just need money. And it's unfortunate we have a very small population that can happen really easily.
Right.
Especially when people are still chasing breaks and they're like, oh, let me sell my parallels I don't care about, and they start dumping them, So I think that trend will change. I think that the breaking will slow, the breaking will slow down, and people will start having to buy the parallel cards and actually realizing it's cheap. $150 orange card is cheap. It should be more for one of 25. But it's in a dip. Another big thing I want to point out is, Cass Spire, he was buying lots of people's base cards. I mean, he was literally he bought all my base cards and bought a whole bunch of other base cards for, everyone's selling them for like $3 a pop or whatever. So he accumulated, I think, what might be the largest collection of Sapphire we've ever seen. And now it's on eBay for $105,000. All of his base, all of his parallels, there's even a pad in there. I think it's a Brutal Bridget. Yeah, Brutal Bridget pad is in there. The fact that he's selling that huge lot also doesn't help the values of Sapphire.
Ben, I can't thank you enough for being here with us today. You were fantastic last time, fantastic again today. Statistics that you're spitting out are absolutely mind-boggling. And again, this isn't going to go away anytime soon. And I definitely think that this will not be the last time we're talking to you on Sapphire trends and prices. That's for sure.
Well, thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure being on the show.